Give me the next few minutes and I'll show you how to build your first AI tool, even if you've literally never built anything with AI before. So our first build is going to be an email drafter. It lets you take any email, paste it in, and it'll write a calmly worded email as a response in my voice. All these instructions within this assistant are stored in what's called a Claude project. Here's our email drafter project. In this video, I'll explain step by step how to map a pane or a task that you do manually, and then how to build a Claude project to automate it. First thing you want to do is open a new browser window and search for Claude hotbar. Sometimes the first result will be hijacked by sponsored results. You may need to look down here, but find the URL that's www.claude.ai. Go ahead and click that. Now we need to log in with either Google or our email. Okay, so now that we're in, we can go ahead and start chatting with Claude, or we can go ahead directly create a project here on the sidebar. So go ahead and click project. You can see I have some here already created, but let's create a new project together. So in short, a Claude project is just somewhere that knows your stuff so you don't have to keep re-explaining something every time. So if my goal is to draft calm professional emails in my voice, I can name it email drafter. But before you pick your goal that you want to automate, it might help to understand why we're using Claude projects in the first place. They're perfect for when two things are true. The tasks need to just follow the same set of instructions every time, and it's a recurring task. It comes back often enough that re-explaining everything to Claude would be annoying. So with that in mind, now let's map the pane that you're going to automate with your first Claude project. So here's a little thought exercise to help you think of your first one. If you've done the same task 3 times in the last 2 weeks, it qualifies. Email replies in your voice, workout planning, marketplace listings, meal planning, which is another great example. You can load the Claude project with information about your diet, allergies, etc. Then you can type into Claude what actual ingredients you have in the house and get back a grocery list. These are just general life things you can automate, but also think about it in terms of your life, your job, your day. Think about every hour from the moment that you wake up. And you might also catch yourself doing something repeatedly now that you have this framework in mind. So take a second and come up with your task, and you can follow along while I build my email drafter. So once we've named it and told it what we're trying to achieve, we can hit create project. And we have a blank canvas right now. There are no instructions currently loaded in here. And we see that Claude references the same knowledge every time you talk to it in this project. And if we scroll down, we can see where we add this knowledge. So here is the memory section where Claude automatically updates its memory about you after a few chats. Here are the instructions that we can add explicitly to tailor Claude's responses. And we can also add files, PDFs, documents, or other text to reference in this project. And the main thing we're going to focus on is updating the instructions here. Set project instructions. Provide Claude with relevant instructions and information for chats within this project. This will work alongside with your profile instruction and the selected style in a chat. Profile instructions are your custom instructions across every single chat, but we don't need to worry about that right now. Right now, we're just giving it the instructions to automate this one simple task. Now we could just start typing in here, respond to any inflammatory emails calmly. I like to talk like this, and this. But instead, let's hit cancel and go up to the chat here. And I'm going to tell it, research prompting best practices. Write an email drafting prompt that in a calm, nonchalant style always responds nicely and confidently to emails. When you're telling AI how to write for you, it's a great idea to include good and bad examples. So you can tell it explicitly, here's an example of a good writing style. So it's kind of like a nonchalant email where I'm taking ownership of something that I missed, and it doesn't have any real AI giveaway phrasing. A bad example, I said, in today's fast-paced environment, deadlines slip. Most people would try to do this, but this. The game changer was this. Okay, so that's good enough for now. Let's go ahead and send this. If we look at its train of thought here by clicking this drop-down arrow, we can see it's web searching, prompting best practices, and that is just in order to write a nice dialed-in prompt for us. Okay, it seems to have completed now. Here was our initial prompt, and it said it pulled the prompting best practices from online, and here is the prompt. So it wrote a pretty comprehensive prompt for us, just from us telling it, write a prompt that responds nicely to emails, right? So we're going to hit copy here. Go ahead, hit the X there, then click this button here, whatever you named your project, be brought back to it. And then we're going to go back to our instructions and click the plus sign there. And then we can just hit Control V to paste the prompt. It's okay to have these markdown symbols here, these pound signs. AI reads it just like normal language, and we can hit save instruct. Here we can see our past conversation with our project. Our instructions are now added, and we can use this now to effectively automate the task we had in mind when we started this, right? Drafting emails. Now I can go to my inbox, take a snarky email, paste it in. I really don't need to be using powerful model here, and we'll let it do its thing. It smartly said, I don't even know what we're responding, what actually caused the delay, etc. So I'm just giving it the info. Our team was too busy. It'll be done tomorrow. Never late again. And here's the response we get. Fair, this is the second time, and that's on us. The team got stretched thin this week, and the deliverable slipped as a result. You'll have it by the end of the day tomorrow, and we're building in a buffer on our internal timeline so this doesn't happen a third time. So even if I felt like saying, really, per my last email, you're gonna per my last email me, you know, we have this nice calm response, and I can reuse this project, right? I can go back to here, bookmark it, and use it anytime I need ideas on how to draft my emails, right? Doesn't mean I necessarily need to copy and paste this response into the email, but it just gives me a starting point. So congratulations, you've successfully automated your first workflow with AI. Congrats on your first AI build. Some things to note, I think you only get a certain amount of maximum projects in the free tier. So you may need to go to your profile button here on the bottom left, hit upgrade plan. If you're taking, you know, Gen AI for productivity seriously, you're definitely going to want to upgrade to the pro version at least. And if you're taking agentic coding seriously, you'll want to upgrade to the max plan at the very least. It says recommended for Claude Code, and indeed I kind of second that. You'll hit your $20 a month usage pretty quickly when you're using the best models for coding. Anyway, so some things you might want to fix over time are, let's say, I don't know, you don't like that it promises having something by a certain timeline. Well, what you want to do is go back to the project, go into your instructions, find where to add, you know, your little tweaks to the prompt. So we have the headers here. This is the overview, how the reply reads, the voice, and we have a don't section. So let's say we can add a new line here and say, don't ever promise a specific date of delivery. Then hit save instructions, and it will do its best not to do that again. If you're in our school community, which you can get to by visiting www.aibuildersociety.com, then you can go ahead and post this as your first win. And that's it for today's video. So congratulations on your first AI build ever. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.